Good evening. I have gone from strength to strength as a comedian, all right? This is the first show where there are more than 5 people in the audience. And this guy in the front can attest to it. Anyone heard of the Edinburgh Fringe? Anyone heard of the... Yeah. I thought it was a convention for calculus, but it turns out it's a convention of clowns, you know. Who actually joke show up. But people like me who are extremely brain dead, thanks to a 3-year-old, madam, not suspicious substances as you were sort of thinking at me for. I was totally brain dead and I thought the Edinburgh Fringe is like a small venue. Okay? There'll be 400 people, 4 venues, I'll show up, I'll crack a joke, everything will be fine. There were 4,000 people and 25,000 shows. So anyone married in the room? Give me a shout. No one. My God, show-offs. Oh, one person is tentatively raising his hand. Yeah, welcome to hell, sir. And do you have kids, may I ask? Yes, 1, 2. Just one. Jesus Christ, this is exactly my demographic, okay? This is my perfect audience because I have 2 children, I'm 21 and I'm single. So, yeah. They said it's late night sexy jokes, right? Parallax. I still believe in love. Yeah, I do. I'm South Indian, born and raised in Bangalore. Born in Delhi, raised in Bangalore, as you can tell. Because Delhi does a number on you, right? It makes you think you can talk Hindi. And you believe that until you meet a Punjabi, right? And then you know that you can speak Hindi, and he certainly cannot. And that's my husband, right? He's Punjabi. Anyone know these people? Yeah. Anyone of these people? The host, yeah, that's right. Anyone of these people? Any Punjabis in the room? Yes, no? Oh, we are not admitting to this fact. Acha, theek hai. Welcome, sir. We will keep you in mind. So, getting married to a Punjabi is not all that it's made out to be, but as I said, I believe in love. Okay, I have since the age of 13. I was a nerd, and my pronouns were engineer and pissed off. Right? As was most of Bangalore's, and also overweight by the age of 14. Right, I was quite chubby, and I had very thick glasses, and I was raised on a very steady diet of LSD. And LSD stood for light, spelling, and drama. Okay, yeah, light because I had glasses so thick that if you focus the light just right, you could set a whole colony of ants on fire. So there are 3 in line here with thick glasses. They're like, viper coming. But yeah, welcome. You're my tribe. And spelling because my dad is this weird Tamil man who believed in the fact that his children had learned big English words like egalitarian. And you had to learn to spell it backwards. Otherwise, there was no rasam on the table, only rajma. Okay? No, rajma for the unversed can feel like punishment. Has anyone had this? Recently? Yes. No, not this guy. Anyone else had rajma recently? It's basically like a recipe for levitation, right? You're basically floating 3 feet above the bed all night, and you might float out the window as well. So you have to be careful about this. But the good thing about a Punjabi mother-in-law is that she gave me the best recipe for rajma, right? With garlic, so you can actually float out and cross continents. Yeah, which is what we did. We went all the way to the UK, the home of the original rajma, sir. And and D stood for drama, okay? Any Tamilians in the house? One person was so weak. Kya ho gaya? No rasam, try rajma, okay? It's better for you, more protein. But basically being a Tamilian means that if I am pissed off with you, I don't talk about, let's talk, I have feelings, I have some emotions too. No, that doesn't happen. You will find a plate arriving at your forehead. Okay. And it's porcelain, mostly, bone china, something very expensive. And I've sort of validated this over 15 years of marriage. As I said, I'm single, 21, and ready to mingle. But yeah, marrying a Punjabi was not all that I thought it would be, right? But it happened under very desperate circumstances, madam. I was on a bus. Anyone know what this is? It has 4 sides, a top, a bottom, 4 wheels. It goes boom. Yeah, once you're an engineer, you at least know what a bus is. You can visually identify, right? So I was on a bus, and it was called the Himachal Road Transport. And anyone heard of this? Yes. Yeah, the British took the Kohinoor, but they left the Himachal Road Transport, right? They said, ye rakh lo, ye le jayenge, right? So I was there on that bus, and I used to be an atheist until that point, right? I'm reading Feynman. I'm thinking, I know physics. I understand E equals MC squared. No God. Then I got on the bus. All right. It was 8 p.m., unremarkable, somewhere in Manali, right? There was a big mountain in the back, and an avalanche running down the mountain. And the bus driver had to get married the next morning, right? And he's marrying a South Indian, so he has a long way to go. So he's like, oh, Rama, and he's driving as fast as he can. This bus is not meant to go above 30 kilometers an hour. And you know, the Indian government can lose one or two, right? What do they care? They're like, yeah, chalao, you know. And to avoid the avalanche, our man belted it at 45 kilometers per hour. It was exactly the velocity at which one of the wheels fell off, right? The avalanche caught us, but like, you know, Bruce Willis on top of the tower or whatever, you know, where he's letting off Hans Gruber. It stopped right at the rear wheel. So we were fine, right? But you've had an experience and you've found God. Alright, and she was in my pocket mirror, okay? She was a very large, hairy woman. She said, hello. I said, hello. She said, how are you? I said, I'm fine. How are you? She said, get married. I said, so I shall. And that's when I looked to my side, okay? And there was a man sitting there with no mustache, sir. I have a problem with facial hair now that I have so much of it. You know, I've had to get used to the idea, right? And there was this man who was sitting there clean shaven, and I thought, And he's looked at me and he said, The real thing that was behind the you know, the subtext of the was that I am 35 and he's 37. And all of our aunties have moved out of their respective zip codes, right? They're like, iska kuch nahi hone wala, right? And no, you know, not even arranged marriage. No, there's no chance in hell. You're past your go-by date, right? You're practically geriatric, definitely me, right? And I thought to myself, And he also said, We got off the bus and we said, I do. Because that's what you do, you know, when you get off a bus, which is the Himachal Road Transport. Now, what I didn't realize is that Punjab has clean-shaven men. Now, see, I didn't realize. When he also knew physics, which was very crazy. What is this, right? But what you don't realize is that, you know, from Bangalore to Punjab is 3,500 kilometers, right? That's 16 sari styles, 25,000 gods, 66,000 versions of Rajma, and 22 uncle-auntie pairs, combinations and nomenclatures, right? Like something like Chacha, Chachi, Nana, Nani, something, yeah, Fufa, Fufi. You know, it's very, very polysyllabic. You can go through your whole oral range, you know, telling the names of your relatives. So I said, okay, mom, I'm getting married. She said, all right, get married. Now, my mom is this very short pocket rocket, okay? She's about 3'4", and she has massive headphones, okay? And she's constantly listening to Guns N' Roses. Has anyone heard of this band? Yeah, so the next time you see a little short woman in a full silk sari, right? Wearing big headphones and going, don't think she's trying to center herself or any such bullshit, okay? She's listening to Axl Rose and she's probably very pissed off. And I should know because now I have 2 kids. And I have headphones. And I'm 21 and single and ready to move. But there I was, right? I said, okay, let's get married. So there I was, you know, dressed in my sari. Does anyone know what a South Indian sari looks like?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an Olympic pool-sized garment, right? We believe in overcompensating. It's like 9 yards long. And not only do you wrap it around yourself, you also throw it between your legs and fasten it in the back. So it's more like a chastity pant. So, on the day you get married, if an uncle gets too amorous, no chance, right? We protect our women. And the Punjabis, on the other hand, they get married at what? 3 at night or 7 in the evening? I didn't know what this was, right? I was up at the right hour, 5 a.m. I'm at the altar. I'm dressed in my 9-yard sari, 15 kgs of fake jewelry, all my dowry on my head. You know, it was great. I'm sitting there and there's no groom to be found. Right? And my mom runs up to the hotel room, she knocks on the door, she wakes up 15 sleeping Punjabis, they're like, Palle Palle. She's like, no, Palle Palle, get to the altar, now! I've taken off my headphones for you, how dare you? So they run down to the altar. Now, anyone know what a veshti is? Yeah, it's the South Indian male version of the sari. It's a skirt. It's a frock without Velcro, just the lower half, man. And it is also 9 yards long, right? It is the Punjabi version of hell, as I said, right? And so my husband, who has no idea how to wear this thing, is running down the stairs. You can imagine a Karan Johar-esque set. You know, there's no ventilation because it's South India, right? There's no air. So our man is running down. It's 5 in the morning. You know, he's barely gone to bed. I mean, poor thing. And my brother says, you better wear the veshti, otherwise she can reject you. You know, this is code. I mean, Tamilians are very particular. They are very shifty. Do not look us in the eye, we will suck all your dreams out of your head. But there he was running down the stairs, right, with this veshti. And as he runs down, you know, he's got this thing all over his head. He looks like Casper the Ghost. Okay, he's like, oh my God, where am I? And my brother pokes 2 holes in his eyes, right? He's like, Jiju, go straight and turn left. That's the altar, right? But now that he's 2 hours late, I have had an asthma attack, okay? I'm asphyxiating. I'm almost blue in the face. I'm like, oh my God, I think I've been dumped. You know, how does this happen? He's more hairy than me. How can this happen to me? But that's when I see this ghostly thing running towards me, and I think to myself, maybe that's what a husband looks like. I have made it, you know, what can a PhD get you? A ghost-like husband. So there I was, you know, at the altar, blue in the face. This man runs out. He's like, da, da, da. And something happens, you know, I see lots of things I'm not supposed to see. He sits down. And the priest starts the ceremony. He's like, Om Namo, Om Namo, Om Namo, and to the holy fire, which is going like 5'3" because he had to pour some helium in, I think. And a man was on overtime, right? He has to get to the next wedding, man, okay? And he's being paid good money. So he doesn't want to waste his time. He's going at a double time. And I look around, and I think to myself, this is the metaphor for a modern marriage. Okay, one partner is blue in the face. The other is falling asleep because he's barely woken up, right? And he has two holes where the eyes are, nobody can see what's happening. And you're dependent on the whims of the holy fire and the Holy Ghost to save this institution, which is why only one person in this room is married. Yeah, sucker. No. But yeah, the other sort of origin story I have about how I met this man can go on for a bit, but I have 2 kids, okay? Don't ask me why. I think you have one and then you have, sort of nostalgia for that time when you used to shop for organic baby bottles. And you tell yourself, I've been there once, I can do it again, right? And you're like, it's a challenge to myself, I shall do this. And also they pop out in quick succession, right? That's how it goes. You hit puberty, you meet a man, he deposits a coin, and out come a staircase of babies, right? Not very different for me, lots of babies came out. But the first one was almost a religious experience, right? Because people with one child will say very silly things. Like, we believe in self-control. We don't shout at our children. And what is that? We don't believe in devices, right? I mean, we are very good parents. No LCD, LSD, whatever. By the time you have 2 children, all that changes, right? You're thinking to yourself, yeah, shouting is the only decibel at which we operate in this house, right? Before coming here, my son dropped a whole crate of oranges, okay? And he's yay short, okay? And I said, it's because of you that all the hair on my head have gone grey. And he looked up at me and he said, what did you do to grandma? What is this? And by the time you have 2 kids, you're also so lucky if you know that a tooth has fallen, right? Because for the first child, every tooth is put into its individual plastic bag, okay? The tooth fairy is enshrined with Ganapati, Murugan and others, to keep them company because she's a lady, right? She has to be flanked by men. And you also have these weird notions about Santa Claus, right? I'm raising my kids in the West because the Rajma is better. And you tell them, no, there is Santa Claus, there'll be a tree coming, all that. By the time you have 2 kids, all this changes, right? You'll be so lucky if your brain worked enough to know that there were indeed teeth falling. And I have a permanent sign on my door that says, unless 2 liters of blood have been lost, do not disturb me. And when it comes to Santa Claus, you start to tell it like it is, that Santa Claus is actually a man called Subramanian. He's your grandfather. I'm already in debt to him by 5,000 pounds because of doing this stupid thing called stand-up comedy. And no, he cannot come over for Christmas. Absolutely not. Right? But that also brings me to the other great thing, which is grandparenting. Anyone seen this event play out in your houses? See, I'm an engineer, okay? I fell on my head, ma'am. I used to be used as a stress ball by my mom, right? She was like, boing, 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 and I became an engineer. That's how any engineers in the house? None. 2. 4. Shame. It's like this room is segregated. All the nerds on one side and all the non-nerds on the other side. But my mom is a super nerd, okay? She's a chemistry major. And she has a gold medal in something called chemistry, organic chemistry, I think. And now both of us need manuals, okay? Like I needed a manual for my first kiss, okay? I went to the library, I drew how the noses would meet, how the air would cross paths, Listerine, how much Listerine, how many ml, how many mg, what is the concentration. I figured all that out. Now when it came to grandparenting, it was the same thing. She needed a manual, right? And she had to go to the public library. She looked up, what is this, what is that? She came back running after 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And she said, I figured it out. I figured out what grandparenting is. I said, yeah, tell me, what is it all about? She said, your baby, your problem, bye-bye.